Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Little Fella Sports Podcast. As you can see, we are here for another FPL show, the Let's FPL show for Game Week 11. And before we get into the show, as usual, we are very close to 150 subscribers. So please do like, share, subscribe to our channel, and we continue to provide much more content for you. So please do like, share, subscribe to our channel. And as we get into the show, so let me first, as usual, welcome our FPL guest, Sukin. Hope you're doing great, Sukin.
Yeah, I'm great.
All right, Sukin. So obviously, so it's another FPL game week, and we had some very interesting games as such in the whole last week, and some very interesting point getters also. Guys, we didn't expect to be big hitters, but provided like the guys likes of Cavani and James Ward-Prowse had really good game weeks last week, and overall it was a week where some of the big names which you expected, someone like Raheem Sterling, really didn't get an opportunity to even play, right? So it was a surprising week in that way. So heading into game week 11, obviously the first biggest news is that Villa versus Newcastle, due to a increase in cases in the Newcastle training ground, they've obviously shut down the training ground and there's no games for the next. They're not playing this week at least. So first of all, our hearty wishes to all those who are affected by that, and hopefully they'll recover soon. But then, of course, this means that there are ramifications for what we do in terms of this game week. So, what are your initial thoughts on the game being postponed, and what do you think FPL players could do to play around this situation?
Yeah. So initially they were saying like this game can be reset back for this week itself, the next, like within this game week for next Wednesday. But I don't think so because the Newcastle situation is not that positive. So I don't think it will be on next Wednesday. So better to transfer out them for good players like instead of Grealish, you can put Mahrez or yeah, Zaha is returning back from Corona. So and even in striker, Ings is back, Antonio is back. So instead of Watkins, you can put those guys. But for goalkeeper, I wouldn't suggest you to swap out, take a hit for Emiliano Martinez for any other goalkeeper because as of now, Emiliano has two more games than other goalkeepers, and goalkeeper points are not that much high. Say if you have a clean sheet only, then you will get the 6 points. Otherwise, you will get 2 or 3 points only. So taking a hit for -4 and then expecting another keeper to get a clean sheet so that you can have a positive points is very difficult. Unless and of course you are sure that a certain goalkeeper is sure of getting the clean sheet, I wouldn't recommend swapping out Emiliano for anyone. So as far as goalkeeper is concerned, anyway, Aston Villa are gonna play next week for sure. Uh, so as far as goalkeeper is concerned, please have him on bench, or if you have a bench keeper who is starting, then start him for this game week. Otherwise, it's better to go with the 0 points rather than taking the -4.
So very interesting thoughts there. So as far as Emiliano Martinez is concerned, you're obviously saying that it's better to stick than twist, and that you'd rather wait for another game week than remove someone. And obviously because he's a pretty decent point getter and he's not too expensive either. So unless you really have no other option but to make a swap, then you're saying that you'd stick with him. How about the likes of Grealish and Ollie Watkins? Obviously, both of them have been very consistent in terms of FPL points this season, and they've been part of many FPL teams across the board. So, what would you suggest with them? So, obviously, because those two are the main guys when it comes to Aston Villa's attacking threat, right?
Yeah. So as far as Grealish is concerned, you can swap him out for some informed player like MAHREZ, or player who is coming from COVID, who is Zaha, or someone, anyone other than who is on a great run of the 3 games. You can swap him out, and then you can have him back, Grealish back for the easier games after that. So midfield you can take the gamble because Mahrez he scored a hat trick versus Burnley and he's facing Fulham next. Or you can Zaha or any midfielder you think are good to go with. But yeah, this Ollie Watkins, he has been as productive as Grealish. So if you're planning of a transfer from Watkins to Ings or say Bamford or someone, you can do that move now. This is the right time to do that move because he has been in last game he missed a penalty and after that VAR ruled him out for a goal. It has been a bit unfortunate, but he hasn't been as productive as the initial games. So That is my opinion about Watkins.
So you're saying if you have Grealish and if you really want to remove him, then okay, you can still remove him because some of his fixtures are slightly tricky. And as far as Watkins, also the same thing stays true because you feel that he's been, yeah, as you said, I mean, he's been a guy who's getting points in bulk, right? So he got that amazing haul against Liverpool and an
Yeah,
amazing haul a few weeks later against Arsenal. So he's not been like a weekly consistent performer.
yeah,
So
exactly.
you're saying if you really want to make the move, you can. There's another
Yeah,
player I want to discuss about, Callum Wilson. He obviously missed a couple of games due to injury, but then he came back and he scored
yeah,
last
yeah.
week for Newcastle and he got a pretty decent haul as well. So if you have someone like Callum Wilson, what would you do? Would you stick with him? Do you just keep him on the bench or would you look to make a move?
Yeah, I've been hearing news that even the next Newcastle game might be postponed. So that is a bad news. I read some tweet reports on Twitter. So yeah, and if you're going with 3-5-2 or 3-4-3, then your striker should play definitely. So you have three defenders, then your striker should obviously play. So in that case, you move to like a better, more reliable, like Callum Wilson is getting the points, but there's a question mark regarding Newcastle even returning to play. Only productive in Newcastle is Callum Wilson. So in order to swap him, you can put Danny Ings. Yeah, I think he's Hassan Riddle said he is back in training, or Antonio, who is also back from a hamstring injury. Or if you have some more money, you can go with Gabriel Jesus, because I don't think Aguero is anytime returning to play for Manchester City, because Pep hasn't been as positive about Aguero in getting him to play. So you can go with Jesus if you have more money.
Some very, very interesting suggestions. All three make sense because if, I mean, the fact that Wilson isn't playing makes it very bad because Newcastle, as such, don't score too many goals. And if they're not playing itself, you might as well just move on that asset, right? So your
Yeah,
other choices, Danny Ings, obviously, Hassan Hotel, as you mentioned, has confirmed that he's back in training. So if he might not start this weekend, but you expect him to get into the team sometime very soon.
yeah,
And your other suggestions also, someone like Gabriel Jesus, because Pep has confirmed that Aguero won't play tomorrow also. So if you have the money to make the move, you can make that move.
yeah,
So talking about Manchester City, we'll be talking a little bit about the big clubs in general, the guys who have a larger squad to play
yeah,
with, and the fact that they have European fixtures because they play every 3 days pretty much,
yeah,
and the fact that there's so many injuries right now, it makes it you could see that many managers making different choices for different games to ensure that the players are as fit as possible. So,
yeah,
talking about big clubs, we'll probably start off with Liverpool first. So, they've
yeah,
got Salah, Mane, Firmino, and Diogo Jota as a front
yeah.
four. But what do you make of potential rotations, and how do you think it could affect the
Yeah.
FPL players with regards to Liverpool?
Yeah, so Bobby and Mane mostly will be starting, but Salah returning from COVID, and also he has like his first choice sub should be Jota. So he has only four very good attackers at his disposal. So Klopp, if he plays Salah for the first half, maybe after 60 minutes, there is a very good chance that he will be subbed out for Jota, or versus small teams like even West Brom, Fulham, like small teams like that. I think Jota is like enough to deliver against them, to get the win against them. So Jota's price is very very less. He is 6.9 now, 9 right now, I think. So it is basically like owning Salah or Mane for a cheaper price, but at the risk of maybe giving away like 2 or 3 points, because we have seen him come in as a sub and also score goals if in 2 games. So Jota is not like when he coming as sub he won't score or nothing like that. So he's a very good option. So instead of doubling up on any attacker, I would rather have Jota in my lineup, so that I can spend my other money on Bruno, or upfront on Vardy, or like Kevin De Bruyne or someone like that. So Jota is my first choice with Liverpool.
Makes sense. As you said, of course, Jota has been outstanding for Liverpool this season. He's been a consistent performer in general for Liverpool and also has got some very impressive hauls when it comes to the FPL points. So, talking about Manchester City now, obviously, they are one of the clubs who have multiple forward options. We've already spoken about Aguero and Jesus and how that possibly will work out. One big surprise last week was Raheem Sterling not even getting to play last week. So how
Yeah,
do you see that planning out? Because you obviously got the likes of Sterling, Ferran Torres, Riyad
yeah,
Mahrez, who got a hat
yeah,
trick last week. And you also got guys like Bernardo and Kevin De Bruyne who tend to play forward at times. So,
Yeah.
what do you make of that?
So I think only Kevin De Bruyne and maybe MAHREZ, because Pep is positive about MAHREZ. Only those two guys are have a permanent position in the team. Otherwise, even if you take the defense, uh, there's a chance that Mendy or Cancelo might play. In center back pairing, you can have Laporte, Eki, John Stones, this Ruben Dias. You can start any two of those guys. Pep, we will never know. Only Pep knows who will start for the game, and the right back will be Walker. But against small teams like West Brom or Fulham, he might start. He might have a Cancelo at right back because Cancelo is primarily right back and Mendy at left back. He can go with that. So owning any of the center backs as like defense for your clean sheet, I don't think it's a viable choice. If you want clean sheet from Man City for this easy run of fixtures, you can go with Ederson as your pick, as your goalkeeper pick. Otherwise, it's very tricky with Pep who will select. And if you go move forward, Kevin De Bruyne, I don't think any other midfielder, creative midfielder, they have can provide as much as Kevin De Bruyne, because he has the like key passes, like most chance created, everything he is leading on top. He hasn't have numbers, but he's in a very good form now, and he has like easier run of fixtures next. So Kevin De Bruyne is a very good choice for his price. Otherwise, Raheem Sterling, they are qualified in UCL actually. So instead of if he wants to play Mendy, then he can play Ferran Torres instead of Raheem Sterling, and then move Raheem Sterling. Like I don't know, maybe after 60-70 minutes he can let Sterling play for some time. Maybe he will reserve Sterling for big games like Manchester United. So yeah, Raheem Sterling for his price as of now with Pep, then I don't know to what to decide. Rather, you can have a player who is in a like good form, but Riyad Mahrez. Riyad Mahrez has been awful in all of his games before Burnley game. Burnley game is like it's tailor made for Mahrez, so he had a hat trick that game. Yeah, so next game you have Fulham. So if you want to take a punt, then I can suggest Riyad Mahrez. Maybe if he gets 2 or 3 goals, then you can go with in the forward position. I think Riyad Mahrez is a good suggestion for.
All right, so a little bit of a cut there, but yeah, so we have some very interesting and in-depth analysis about City. So we'll quickly go about talking about Spurs, United, and Chelsea. Obviously, Spurs, I don't think you expect too much to change. You will see Harry Kane and Son pretty much line up for every game. There's a little bit of doubt over Kane, but with Mourinho mind games, you know how it works. You expect Kane to play against Arsenal.
Yeah, I
And
think
when
he
it
will
comes
score.
to and when it comes to United next, so Manchester United, obviously, you've seen Cavani doing really well, but at the age of 34, you don't know whether he'll start every game, so there's a little bit of doubt. With
Yeah,
Rashford and Martial, you probably expect them to play a lot more than he does, and of course, Bruno is an option. At
yeah,
least in Premier League games, you can be guaranteed that he's never going to get
yeah,
rotated or rested at any point, at least for the next few weeks.
yeah,
And Chelsea also. I mean, is there anything different you want to say about Chelsea? Because right now it seems like their first choice front three is Werner, Tammy Abraham through the middle, and Hakim
yeah,
Ziyech. But with the introduction of Havertz and potentially
yeah.
Giroud's 4 goals midweek, how do you change? How do you quickly see the things changing a little bit there?
So, yeah, apart from Ziyech, the only option which I would have suggested would be Tammy Abraham for his price, and he was on like getting more, gonna get more goals than Werner would get, because Werner potential plays left wing. But with Giroud getting 4 goals in CL, I like there is a doubt that maybe Tammy's minutes might be reduced and Giroud might play along with Werner. So don't want to take that risk. But rather, I would suggest you good. You can go with the double up on Chelsea defense instead. So Chilwell and Reece James, in the last 5 games they have taken a combined 65 FPL points. So that is a very good return for Reece James is 5 million, and Chilwell is 6 million. So for 11 million, you are getting 65 points in 5 games. So that is a very, very good return. So yeah, if you have if you have Chilwell and if you have a free transfer available and you don't want to, like, you don't know what to do, then I would you can go with Chile to reach James Swap, and then maybe utilize that 1 million somewhere else. So that is the suggestion I would like to highlight upon, because these James anyway getting, like, if he Chile gets 8 points, he is getting 7 points. So for 1 million price, you are getting 1 point extra. So you can go with that.
Makes sense. So very clear analysis when it comes to Chelsea and the other big clubs as well. So we'll talk about differential options right now. So you can just take over right now. What would you suggest as different differential options through midfield, defense, attack?
Yeah, Jota was a differential some few weeks back, but I don't think he is differential anymore. So let's move forward to James Ward-Prowse. So in the last 5 games, he has 11, 17, 3, 2, and 11 points. So the 3 and 2 points, I think that was against City and I think Arsenal. I don't know. So he has, and he's just 5.6 million or something. So with the return of Dan Ings also, there is a more chance of him getting assists, and his next run of fixtures is also very good. He has Brighton and Sheffield, Arsenal, City, Fulham. So you potentially James Ward-Prowse poses a very good differential pick for you, because at a cheaper price and with Ings returning and his good form, you can take a gamble with James Ward-Prowse.
Makes
And
sense.
then and then in the forward, like as I said already, Gabriel Jesus and Danny Ings and
Dannings.
those are the picks.
And in defense,
Defense. I wanted to say one thing about West Brom. So West Brom's home form is very very good. Because they have considered I think four goals in last four home games, and 3 of them were against Chelsea in the second half. So they have not they have not considered after that. I think they play against Palace this week, and they have Newcastle, City, Villa next. So if you want a stopgap solution for a defender, say you have like 4.5 million or someone, you have Tyreek Mitchell or James Justin, and you want to swap them out because they aren't getting any point, then this week is the best option to get a CS point from West Brom defender.
makes sense. So we quickly talk about captaincy choices now. So we've got some very interesting games lined up this week. So who do you give a few options in terms of who do you say is potential captains?
Last 2 weeks I suggested whoever plays against Fulham, make them captain. But last week I underestimated Fulham's away performances and Vardy's dismal home record. After the game started, only I checked that Vardy had only 1 goal in his home after 4 games, and that one too was a penalty. So made a mistake there. So, but in this week Fulham are playing in their home. So we know Fulham's home record isn't that good as their away record. So Kevin De Bruyne is increasing, like growing form and versus Fulham. You can go with them. Otherwise, you can go with Bruno. Bruno away this season has always returned double digits performances in FPL. So you can go with Bruno or KDB, whoever you have. But my first choice would be KDB. Yeah.
Makes any striker options in terms of potential captaincy choices apart from?
You can go with so DCL also, because his away record is also good. He has been getting good points, like 7 points per game at an average in away games. But if you have Bruno and Kevin De Bruyne, I don't think you would want to go to DCL instead. I don't think any striker option is as good as these guys.
Makes sense. Okay. So we'll quickly move on to the viewer questions right now.
Yeah.
So we obviously have a number of questions lined up for this week. As usual, on Twitter, we will be sending in a tweet every week saying, please share your questions. You can even post in your questions in the comments below. We will definitely be answering them. So we'll go straight into the questions. So first question from Raghuveer. He's asking, should I persist with Vardy or try to get in Kane? Simple.
Vardy is, I think next 3 games, I think he's playing 2 away games, and he's Ricardo Pereira is coming back too. So, but Spurs are very tough fixtures. So yeah, Wardy should be the Wardy just gives you edge ahead of Kane.
All right. The next question is from Nars 1998. So he's saying that he you suggested Alex Telles as an option potentially last week, but he's saying whether should he stick with should he make that move to get in Telles or does he not make that move?
Uh, yeah. So tell us, I said, because he has been going like even now he is going more forward than Luke Shaw has been doing there a while. So he is getting more forward. He is getting more crosses into the box, and there's a chance of him getting assists. And United have a good run of fixtures in PL also. So there is a chance for CS. For that, I suggested tell us. And I wouldn't say he or Maguire performed very poorly versus PSG or even Southampton. Those goals, some most of the goals were very unfortunate. Like those weren't their mistakes. So you can't say it's taking blaming Telles or Maguire for it. So what I said was the reason was it still continues to be my reason for having Telles or Maguire in the team.
All right, just one small thing. I think Luke Shaw is back in training and he's expected to. He's not expected to play this week, but he's
Yeah.
probably in contention for the Manchester derby next week. So that's something to just keep an eye on. Next, we have a question from Shreyas. So his question is he has Grealish and Emi Martinez, as you mentioned, as we talked about earlier. So does he say, he's asking, does he take a free hit or not?
Free hit for no. If you have 10 players playing except the keeper, then why bother take the free hit? Free hit you can use it for later. Like double game weeks are there. There are a lot more double game weeks coming. Potentially 2 to 3 double game weeks. Then you can take either of the week for the free hit. So I would suggest maybe for 2 players you do go the free hit. Maybe take a -4 for Grealish or keep him in bench. That's all.
All right. Another question is from Anand X Greenwood 11. So he's asking that he has Son currently, but then Son's got only one goal in the last 4 game weeks.
Yeah.
He's looking at MAHREZ's good run of fixtures and potential of City scoring a lot of goals. So he's saying, does he make that move considering the rotation also we spoke about earlier?
Yeah, by the eye test, we would say Son has been playing well, but Morris played only better in the Burnley game. But with Pep having affinity towards Morris, like he had for Sterling for the last 3.5 years, I think Morris will be playing a lot in this festive period alongside Kevin De Bruyne. So yeah, you can, and he's facing Fulham next week. So for next 1 week or 2 weeks, you can take the punt on Son or
All right. So you're saying that it'll be a good move if you decide to make that move from if you want to from HeungMin Son to Riyad Mahrez, considering their really good run of fixtures. And so the next question is from Anirudh Vishwanathan. He's asking that he's got Raheem Sterling and he's not sure if he's starting. Just a second, guys.
Yeah.
So the next question is from Anirudh Vishwanathan. He's saying that he's got Sterling and he asking whether to bin him or not, considering that he didn't play last game. Sterling.
Yeah, the thing with Sterling and Cancelo is the potential upside in this week is very huge because they're playing Fulham. So, and if you take out them, and I don't think there are any replacements who might give you more points than they will. So yeah, if you don't have Chilwell or Reece James, then maybe take out Cancelo and then bring one of them in. But with Sterling, with a potential huge upside, I don't think you can. You need to take him out this week. Maybe next week, if he plays CL and then not decides not to play in the Derby versus United. Well, it depends on what Pep says. Yeah.
Makes sense. The other question is from Ashwin Kumar. So this is something we've already discussed. He's asking that given that we have the Villa Newcastle game, should he remove Grealish? So that's something we already spoke about.
Yeah.
If you really have the cash and you feel that you want to make that move, you're saying that you can make that move, considering Villa's run coming up. And so that's that question. And finally, we have a couple more questions. We have a question from Kripakaran. So his question is that he's also on the very similar lines. He's saying he has both Martinez and Grealish. So you've already answered that in the
Yeah.
same way that Shreyas done. So
Yeah.
the answer is pretty simple. If you would say that keep Martinez because
Yeah.
he's a very cheap option, and it's very difficult to get a replacement for Martinez. But when it comes to Grealish, you're saying if your hunch says to make the move, you're saying okay, it's not a wrong move to take a hit and move him on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
final question is from Narasimhan. His question is very straightforward actually. He's saying he has two choices between Gerard Bowen from West Ham and Daniel Podence from Wolves, who scored last week against
Yeah.
Foden. Bowen scored against Aston Villa and Foden scored against Arsenal. So he's asking which one of the two will be a better differential choice.
For this, yeah, both of them have very tricky fixtures this week. They Wolves are playing Liverpool and Bowen is playing Manchester United. So and yeah, if you are staying for a run of 4 5 fixtures, then I would say I would slightly incline towards Podence because he's playing upfront with Neto in the absence of Jimenez. So the whatever Jimenez points, like whatever which were bound to go to him, might go to Neto and Podence in this coming week. So I think and the Wolves are picking up form in the previous some 2 3 matches. So I think Podence might be a better choice instead of Bowen. I might be wrong, but for this week, I wouldn't suggest to go with any one of them. Maybe if you are going with like 3 4 run of fixtures, you want to have one of them, and then maybe try to get that money and then put them in some other place. You can go with Podence instead of Bowen.
All right, makes sense. So we've obviously answered all of the viewer questions. As I told earlier, please do like, share, subscribe to our channel. We're very close to 150 subscribers, and we hope that you like our content. Do comment in whatever different content you want to see. We're here to
Yeah.
provide that for you. And thanks a lot to our FPL expert Sukin, who's once again taking his time out and given us some very interesting analysis and thoughts over how he expects the next few weeks, or at least the next week, to go. And once again, thanks a lot, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back soon with a lot more content for you. Thank you, guys.